Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I am back once again for another SpongeBob SquarePants review. And today I'm here to review Sammy Suckerfish. So yeah, in this episode of SpongeBob, after a days of work at the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob notices that the place is dingy, and so Mr. Krabs tasks him to clean up the Krusty Krab before he leaves. And this is where we get to see the new character of this episode being Sammy Suckerfish, who is this orange, brownish fish character who wears brown, and he has a mop dog, and he has a, I want to say it's either British or Australian accent because he said governor or something like that. I want to say it's British, but again, I mean, to be honest, I can't tell the difference. I mean, there is a difference between the two accents, but I'm gonna just stick with British for now. So he has this thick British accent, and he and SpongeBob throughout the episode cleans up the Krusty Krab, and I have to say this was actually a dare I say I actually really liked this episode because I really liked Sammy's accent. I do like the fact that he's British or Australian, whatever accent that's supposed to be. I really did like the fact that they gave him an accent instead of just your typical American accent. And I like that the fact that his mop is a dog. I thought that was pretty clever. And this episode does have another song in it. This is actually the second song in season 14. The first song was back in the Mood to Feud, which I will upload to this channel really soon, but I'm not uploading it right now because I am reviewing these episodes. But I will have that song from In the Mood to Feud, sorry, uploaded really soon. And what I liked about this episode is that I like the climax of the episode of SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs, and Plankton basically teaming up to get the formula off of Sammy Suckerfish's tongue. And as they are doing it, you get to hear his song again playing in the background. And there is one more thing I would like to bring up real quick, and I'm not gonna go any further because I'm already spoiling the ending of the episode, and I don't want to spoil too much of the episode. But yeah, overall, I actually really enjoyed this episode quite a bit. I did like SpongeBob and Sammy Suckerfish working together to clean up the Krusty Krab. And I mostly liked the episode because of the concept of Sammy Suckerfish's design and his voice. I thought his voice was pretty interesting, and I really liked what they did with this episode, even though it's involving SpongeBob cleaning up the Krusty Krab. But you can come up with fun ways to do this concept, and I thought the concept was pretty solid as it is. Alright, so tomorrow is going to be the season 2 finale of the Patrick Star Show, along with Big League Bob, which is on season 14, so that's tomorrow's episode. So yeah, so thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow with the last 2 episodes for this week. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and today I'm here to give you guys my review on the brand new SpongeBob SquarePants episode of today, Big League Bob. So yeah, this is the last episode of SpongeBob for this week, and sorry for the stuttering there. In this episode, SpongeBob gets an offering from an executive who drives into the Krusty Krab for a lunch break to work at the Big League cooking tournament at a culinary stadium. And yeah, this episode was actually a pretty solid one. It's because that we actually got another new character for this season, which is the executive fish. He's this orange-like fish character where he has black pupils for eyes and he wears glasses, and he takes SpongeBob to the leagues for him to cook culinary food, and he gives Mr. Krabs an offering of money. So yeah, like I said before, this was actually a pretty fun episode of seeing SpongeBob training for the big leagues with these other contestants, which consist a shrimp, a turtle, and this one girl fish character. I don't know what type of fish she's supposed to be or marine animal, but she's like this fish character who's like very shy and not talkative as much. And there's these two running gags of the episode that features this one guy working as a hot dog stand on the freeway, and every time a driver goes by, they throw like a can at the guy, and this ends up turning into this one gag throughout the episode. And there's another gag that features Patrick in a hat. But every time SpongeBob sees Patrick wearing this hat, it's like a figment of his imagination, because every time he turns back around, he notices that Patrick vanishes. So Patrick in this episode had a pretty quote unquote interesting role in this episode, but it's not all that big of a role. All he does is just compliment SpongeBob throughout the episode, but every time he turns around, he just vanishes. So it's kind of like a figment of his imagination or something. But yeah, and then of course when SpongeBob actually works, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry if these reviews have been all over the place. I know I keep apologizing a lot. That's because I tend to say something, but I end up not meaning to say it. But so when SpongeBob actually does compete at the league, it turns out that his cooking skills is good, but it turns out that he's struggling with it, and then it turns out that he's better off working at the Krusty Krab than working at culinary. But yeah, overall, this was a pretty solid episode. I enjoyed it, and it was pretty fun. All right, so those are all the new episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants and the Patrick Star Show for this week. Next week will be season 3 of the Patrick Star Show, which are technically the other half of season 2. There's a storm coming, so I'm going to go ahead and end off this review. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with the season 3 premiere of the Patrick Star Show. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review. And today I'm here to review the episode Upward. And yes, I know this episode doesn't come out until 5 p.m. Eastern, but as I've stated in a previous video, that I have been given a SpongeBob folder, and these episodes has been added to the folder, and I've decided to watch it a little bit earlier instead of having to wait until it airs on Nickelodeon. So in this episode, Squidward gets a offering from Lady Upturn to perform his clarinet music at her fancy hotel. I think it was the Upturn Hotel from the episode Upturn Girls, and so yeah, Squidward gets paid to play his music, and that's what the whole premise of the episode is about. And because Squidward is given the opportunity to write a piece of music, he then performs on stage, and just like always, his clarinet music is terrible. So this was a decent episode, if I have to say, because it's nothing new, because we all know that Squidward is terrible at playing the clarinet, which has been a huge running theme throughout the whole show. So seeing him perform on his clarinet very poorly isn't anything new. So that's why I went ahead and called this a decent episode, is because this isn't anything new. We are known to this, and because Squidward is now this paid musician, people are not coming to the Krusty Krab. So Squidward then offers SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs a ticket to watch him perform, and it turns out that the jellyfish that was on Upturn's head is because of the jellyfish was on her head. It was basically making her believe that the music was good, but it turns out that she realized that the music is terrible. So everyone in her theater just leaves, and then SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs just compliments him. So that's Upturn. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Upward. Again, this is a decent episode. It isn't anything crazy, but I didn't let it bother me all that much. And then I did like the gag in the opening of the episode where the art employee was giving Lady Upturn a tour of the museum, and then there was like this, and then he pulled down this lever, and then it dropped these fishes down, and they caught on fire. I thought that was a really funny gag. But yeah, so that is my review of Upward. I'll see you guys on Thursday with the episode Unidentified Flailing Octopus. Again, I will be reviewing the episode a little earlier than usual. It's because, like I said, I have a folder with the episode, so I will be watching it a little earlier instead of its 5 p.m. Eastern premiere date. So be on the lookout for that review on Thursday. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review. And today I'm here to review the episode Unidentified Flailing Octopus. And yes, I know this episode comes out today at 5 p.m., but I have stated already that I do have the episodes that are coming out access to a folder I have been given, so I am watching these episodes a bit earlier so I can get these reviews out as soon as possible. So in this episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, Squidward goes out of his way to prove to SpongeBob and Patrick that aliens doesn't exist when SpongeBob and Patrick were watching the news that aliens have been surrounding Bikini Bottom for many years. And Squidward does end up meeting with the aliens, and I have to say that this episode was rather interesting because I like the fact that the aliens were portrayed as Squidward's Eastern Island home. Yeah, so the aliens in this episode were designed to look like Squidward's home, and I really found that to be really interesting. So the aliens arrives to Bikini Bottom, and they abduct Squidward's house for them to do like an experimentation on Squidward. And if there's one criticism that I do have with this episode, I think this episode would have been a little bit better if maybe the aliens had like their own leader, like it was like maybe, I don't know, like another Eastern Island looking alien, but it's like their leader or something that rules over them. But I'm not entirely sure if they viewed Squidward as their leader, because I think that's the reason why they probably abducted him. I think that's what they were going for this episode, but I was a little bit confused because in the episode, Squidward specifically told the aliens to take them to their leader, and I guess they probably viewed Squidward as their leader. I think that's why they were probably torturing him the way they did. And there's this really creepy part of the episode where Squidward went into this little laboratory where it showed the aliens in these little abduction tanks or these little incubators or something, and one of the aliens hatched from an egg, and it was like this baby alien, and I found that moment of the episode to be rather creepy, but in a good way. So overall, this was a really interesting episode. I like the fact that the aliens were depicted as Squidward's Eastern Island home instead of them going with generic looking aliens like what they did with Farmer Bob. But yeah, I really like the approach that they did with this episode. And yeah, so that is my overall thoughts on Unidentified Flailing Octopus. So yeah, so tomorrow's episode is going to be Swaptoberfest from the Patrick Star Show. Again, I will be reviewing that episode a bit earlier instead of watching it at 5 p.m. because I do have the episode with me. And yeah, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with that review. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I am back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review. And today, I'm here to give you guys my review on Bad Luck Bob. So in this episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob discovers bad luck when he loses his lucky tie clip. And throughout the episode, Squidward tells to SpongeBob that luck isn't real and it's all in his head. So yeah, this was actually a rather visually entertaining episode in my opinion, just because that this episode had lots of crazy gags and visuals while SpongeBob was going throughout his day with his lucky tie clip, such as all these things dropping from the sky, such as a piano, a mine, a safe, and because SpongeBob witnessed good luck, he basically greets everyone in a much positive manner. And when SpongeBob ends up losing his lucky tie clip, everyone around him gets good luck, such as Squidward becoming a good clarinet player, Patrick with a lucky 11-foot pole. And yeah, this was a rather visually entertaining episode, and I quite enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, there was actually somewhat of a nice callback to Pickles in this episode, where SpongeBob delivers a Bubble Bass, a Krabby Patty with pickles on it, And yeah, I thought that was a nice little reference to Pickles. And yeah, other than that, that's really all I have to say with this episode. Is because that I don't want to go else into any other details with it, because that's pretty much all that happens in the episode. Is that SpongeBob goes throughout his day with his lucky tight clip, and then when he loses it, everyone around him gets good luck while he suffers bad luck. And yeah, so that's all I'll say with the episode. Now, there is one more thing I would like to talk about real quick, and that is regarding to future SpongeBob reviews. So, after December 24th, which is going to be the season 3 finale of the Patrick Star Show, whatever episodes that I have left in my SpongeBob folder, by the way, there has been new episodes posted to there that hasn't been aired in the United States yet. I will be saving that for 2025. So yeah, so I'm hoping that I'll get Camp Coral done by 2024, but I'm not entirely sure on that. But I will try to at least review at least the rest of the seasons, because I am almost done with season 2 of Camp Coral. So I will get those reviews out as soon as possible, and of course I will be working on other SpongeBob videos in the meantime. But I'm just here to get you guys a heads up that as a matter of fact, after I watch the last episode of the Patrick Star Show that comes out on December 24th, I think I'll hold off on future SpongeBob reviews until 2025. Just because that, let's be real here, there's been a lot of episodes coming out this year, and I think I want to give myself a small break so I can get ready for 2025. So yeah, so I probably won't review anything else after that new episode of the Patrick Star Show that's coming out on December 24th. So just to let you guys know on that. Alright, so that is my review on Bad Luck Bob. Tomorrow there will be a new episode of the Patrick Star Show. I think it's Practical Jobs, I think that's what the episode that's coming out tomorrow, but I have to look and see on that. But yeah, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with that review. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here. And yes, it is rather early in the morning by the time I'm recording this video. So I just got done watching the Sandman comic from SpongeBob SquarePants, and I have to say I actually really enjoyed this episode. It was really fun, and I'm looking forward to sharing my opinions of this episode. So in this episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob and Patrick are out in Jellyfish Fields having a day of fun catching jellyfish, and then Patrick ends up falling asleep, and he ends up having a hard time sleeping, so he decides to get advice, obviously, from SpongeBob throughout the episode. And yeah, this episode was rather a really fun one, because we get to see Patrick struggling to get some sleep, and so he ends up doing everything with SpongeBob in order for him to stay awake, such as playing video games, playing a game of checkers, and all that. And then SpongeBob suggested that he gets a visit from the Sandman if he wants to get some sleep. And as a matter of fact, the scenes with the Sandman was actually really fun, because the Sandman turned out to be this really cartoony character, but it was all just Patrick seeing things, because he obviously has insomnia, and he basically goes cuckoo, throughout the episode's climax, where he ends up thinking that he sees the Sandman, but it just turns out that he's seeing things because he's not getting enough sleep. And yeah, this was a really fun episode, like I stated. I really did enjoy the antics with Patrick trying to get some sleep, and he becomes really crazy, like to the point where he has like this beard, his eyes are all bloodshot because he's not getting enough sleep. And yeah, that's really all I have to say with this episode, because that really all that happens is that Patrick needs help getting some sleep, and then SpongeBob gives him all these advices and whatnot. So yeah, again, another solid episode in my opinion. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Tomorrow there is going to be another episode of the Patrick Star Show, so I will be reviewing that as well. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here. and I'm back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review, and I had almost forgot that I was supposed to watch this episode today, but I remembered myself, and that is the episode Biscuit Ballyhoo, and yeah, I actually pretty enjoyed this episode. I actually enjoyed this episode quite a lot, and I will give you guys my little review of it. So in this episode, Sandy's science scouts, consisting of SpongeBob, Squidina, and Pearl, are out selling biscuits so they can afford a trip to Mars. But when Mr. Krabs ends up seeing this, he then recruits up with Squidward, and he brings SpongeBob along to compete with their biscuit selling, so they can earn the money for their trip. So yeah, this episode was actually really fun and funny at the same time because this episode did have some really humorous jokes within the characters selling the biscuits. Like, for example, we got Squidina selling biscuits to Baby Prunes and her daughter from Chocolate with Nuts. They return in this episode. And then we have Squidina selling the biscuits to Bubble Bass. And that's when Mr. Krabs shows up, and then he basically tries to sell his Krabby Doodles. Yeah, Krabby Doodles. That's the name of their version of their biscuits, which is basically stale Krabby Patty buns. And so Mrs. Puff is in this episode because that's actually the scene where Squidina was trying to sell her biscuits to Mrs. Puff, and then Mr. Krabs then shows up to ruin everything. And then there's this really messed up part with Mr. Krabs is when Pearl was riding her bike, and then Mr. Krabs then just interferes and then just takes the axle off of her wagon attached to the bike. And yeah, so then we got a scene with SpongeBob selling the biscuits to a taxi driver. And yeah, so yeah, overall this was actually a really fun episode. It was very entertaining, and there were some really funny jokes in the episode. Oh yeah, there was this one more joke that I forgot to mention, and that was the obligatory explosions in this episode where Mr. Krabs lands into a mattress factory and then it explodes. I thought that was pretty funny. And then there's also another scene where they were trying to sell, Pearl was selling her biscuits to this retirement home, and we got a little cameo of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy in a picture frame. And then Squidina and SpongeBob, towards the climax, was out of the picture, and it was mostly Pearl doing the rest of the selling, while not Pearl, SpongeBob and Squidina was out in the background, and obviously Sandy was out of the picture in the climax. Well, during the climax too, because of course she is the counselor of the Science Scouts. And yeah, so yeah, overall that is my review on Biscuit Ballyhoo. Pretty fun episode. I quite enjoyed it, and it was lots of fun. All right, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys this Sunday with my review on the next episode of Camp Coral. Yes, I will be reviewing the next Camp Coral episode that I have with me on Sunday, so be on the lookout for that. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review. And today I'm here to review the new episode, Student Driver Survivor. And this is another boating school episode. This is actually the first boating school episode of season 15. And in this episode, Mrs. Puff has a competitive boating school instructor who is giving out free driver's license when he opens up a boating school to compete with Mrs. Puff's boating school, to the point where all of her students are going to that school instead. And so basically, Mrs. Puff gives SpongeBob paid driving lessons in order to keep her business afloat. So yeah, this is actually another rather interesting take of a boating school episode where Mrs. Puff has a competitive boating school, but it turns out at the end of the episode that the instructor was basically a criminal because he was going around giving out false driver's license and whatnot. Yeah, I kind of spoiled the ending there, but I I wanted to do it anyways. So yeah, this was actually a pretty interesting episode. Seeing Mrs. Puff basically giving SpongeBob all these random driving lessons while he's trying to enjoy himself, such as driving on a mountain, an ice rink, and so yeah, this was another really interesting take of a boating school episode. And yeah, that's really all I have to say with this episode is that it is your typical boating school hijinks where SpongeBob is doing poorly at driving, just like he always do. Because if you guys didn't know at this point, Steven Hillenburg made it very clear that SpongeBob isn't allowed to get his driver's license. Hence why we see him doing the same terrible driving in every boating school episode, because that's just the status quo of the show. And one of Steven Hillenburg's is Bibles or little things about the show is that SpongeBob isn't allowed to get his license, and they have been keeping that tradition very nicely. So yeah, overall, Student Driver Survivor was a pretty solid episode. I really enjoyed this one, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next with boating school episodes. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time with another review. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I have to say that SpongeBob SquarePants ended off 2024 with a bang, in terms of the main series, that is, and I'm here to give you guys my review on Wiener Takes All. And yes, this episode does comes out on Nickelodeon at 5 p.m., but as I've stated in my previous reviews, that I do have access to these episodes early, so that's why I'm reviewing this episode a bit earlier. So yeah, in this episode of SpongeBob, Squidward has another stressful day at work, and he wishes he could be the manager of an establishment. So he decides to leave the Krusty Krab to take a manager position at Winnie Hut Jr.'s, where he does all the lounging while all of the employees does the working, which, if you guys didn't recall from the episode No Weenies Allowed, are the robotic Weenie employees from Weenie Hut Jr.'s. Now, this episode was really, really good. Like, I really liked the direction what they did with this episode, and this is exactly why people really needs to stop thinking that just because they bring back these old locations or any of that, thinking that they're nostalgia pandering, is because this is not nostalgia pandering whatsoever, because as long as they do something creative with these locations, then I will not consider it as nostalgia pandering, because I find that as world building, because this episode, just like with the Goofy Newbie, has world building, because this episode gave us some new characters. As a matter of fact, the new character in this episode, I'll go ahead and spoil it real quick, is the CEO of Winnie Hut Jr.'s, which is this it's a more brown colored robot, and he actually owns the CEO of Weenie Hut Juniors, or the headquarters of Weenie Hut Juniors, known as Weenie Hut Seniors, where he basically takes Squidward to Weenie Hut Seniors, in which he wants to turn him into a robot. And this is where the episode gets really good. Like, the climax of this episode was very intense. It was very action-packed, seeing the CEO of Winnie Hut Seniors going out of his way to attack Squidward. And this is exactly what I like about SpongeBob SquarePants, is that they're actually returning to older ideas and expanding the world of SpongeBob SquarePants by giving it lore. And that's what I like about these newer seasons, is that they're actually doing world building. And I understand that people do not like the direction that SpongeBob is currently doing right now, but I have to say that this is a really good episode. Like, I really enjoyed what they did with this episode. And speaking about nostalgia pandering, or references, if you will, they actually brought back the two fish customers from Weenie Hut Juniors. If you guys didn't know, it's the one fish with the glasses, with the braces, and the other fish that they were sitting at the bar eating the weenies, while SpongeBob kept saying, "Well, I'm not a weenie." It was those two characters, but they were only there as a reference. It's not like they made any references to Weenie Hut Juniors. or no weenies allowed, that is, because this episode did manage to not squeeze in any references to No Weenies Allowed. The only thing that resembles No Weenies Allowed is Weenie Hut Juniors, the robots, and those two fish characters that were in the episode. They didn't make any references to the episode, like Mega Weenie Wednesday or something like that. They didn't make any references to that episode, which is good because they were actually doing its own thing by taking Weenie Hut Juniors and adding world building to it by adding like a CEO. We have the headquarters of Weenie Hut Juniors, known as Weenie Hut Seniors, which is on this island. And yeah, this was a really good episode, and I really enjoyed it. All right, so that is my review on Wiener Takes All. This is the last SpongeBob episode that is coming out on Nickelodeon in the year 2024, and I have to say that this was a pretty good way to end off the year. All right, so thank you all for watching. Tomorrow's episode is going to be the second to last season 3 episode of the Patrick Star Show, Get Out. That episode will be coming out tomorrow, and I will be reviewing it. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello, everyone. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review. And today, I'm here to review the episode Stuck in an Elevator. And in this episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, Squidward is going to the library to return a book before it's overdue. And while taking the elevator to the top floor, SpongeBob and Patrick ends up appearing in the library while they were supposed to be out having their day of fun, but it turns out that their day of fun is taking place at the library. And while Squidward tries to go up to the top floor, SpongeBob and Patrick ends up screwing up with the elevator buttons, causing the elevator to break, and so they're stuck on the elevator until they get help. So, this episode was okay, in my opinion. I really didn't find this episode to be all that groundbreaking because, even though that this episode concept is somewhat unique, I think, that this episode could have been a little bit better. Like, some of the highlights or some of the moments of this episode is SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward being trapped in the elevator. And then there was like this one gag where SpongeBob and Patrick turned into these real-life sardines when Squidward brought up the fact that they were trapped in the elevator like sardines, and I thought that was somewhat funny. The part where Squidward talks on the telephone to get help, that was fine, I guess, because all it was just a caveman repeating everything that Squidward said. It wasn't all that crazy. And then we got the big ending where SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward were all acting all hallucinating when they were like they have these 5 o'clock shadows on their faces and whatnot, and they worship Squidward as their king, and the caveman ended up freeing himself from the elevator where he finds SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward there. And then we got the ending where Squidward gets sent to library jail because his book is 30 seconds overdue, and that's what the whole episode was about. So yeah, this episode was just okay, in my opinion. It wasn't anything too exciting. I think this episode could have came up with funnier jokes, like, I don't know, maybe have Squidward, like, yell at the top of his voice, like, very loudly. Like for example, I was hoping for a scene where, I don't know, maybe like they're stuck in the elevator and there's like there probably like been like a scene where like cuts to like the outside view of the elevator and you just hear Squidward screaming or something like that, but that didn't happen, so it's all good. All right, so that is my review on Stuck in an Elevator. I will be back later this afternoon with my review on the final episode of the Patrick Star Show's 3rd season, Day of the Living Dad Joke. So yeah, be on the lookout for that review. And with that, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review. And today I'm here to review the episodes Witness Protection and Dome Alone. So yeah, I just got done watching these episodes, and they were pretty fun. I really enjoyed both of these episodes. So in Witness Protection, Squidward moves out of Bikini Bottom to a new part of town, to get away from a criminal by the name of Ed, I already forgot the dude's name, so I apologize because I literally just watched these episodes just now. So, well, all I'll say with this person that sort of is running away from it involves with erasers, and he basically moves out of Bikini Bottom to avoid this person, and so and he actually changes his name to John Dolphin, where he basically goes to this concert where he plays the triangle. And what's really unique about this episode is that it actually has a voiceover narrative where it's basically Squidward and SpongeBob's voices playing over the episode as they explain how they got themselves into the situation. And yeah, it was actually a really unique take of an episode. Hold on a second. So yeah, and then we had moments of the episode where SpongeBob and Patrick were trying to help Squidward be protected from this person who was after him, and it was rather fun seeing SpongeBob and Patrick going out of their way to protect Squidward from this guy, such as going through a mountain. You got them going to this plexiglass building, and yeah. So yeah, Squidward's Protection was a rather fun episode. I guess I do want to apologize if I literally forgot the name of the guy's name in the episode, but it is what it is. Now, Dome Alone. Now, this episode was really interesting. It's another Sandy-centered episode, where Sandy accidentally breaks her helmet, and she has to wait 8 to 6 weeks for a new one to get ordered. And so she basically sends Patrick out on this mission to figure out what the heck Plankton is doing, because this episode does involve with Plankton. That happens later in the episode. But yeah, so the reason Sandy ended up breaking her helmet is that she goes to this nut barn, which I thought was really funny. And then when she gets home, she accidentally bumps into Plankton's next scheme for the Krusty Krab, and it ends up breaking her helmet, and which she has to order a new one, and she has to wait 6 to 8 weeks for it, and she basically has to stay home while she's waiting for her new helmet, and while she's waiting, she basically sees what everyone is doing in Bikini Bottom by sending a video camera through Bikini Bottom, where we see Mrs. Puff teaching a student driving. We got her looking through the Krusty Krab, where she sees Mr. Krabs counting his money, and then we get to see all that stuff. And then there's a subplot in this episode where SpongeBob goes out through this forest, and there's this really funny scene in the episode with this live action gorilla. Like, this gorilla just shows up, and it just had me dying, because it was that funny, in my opinion. And yeah, overall, this was a really fun episode, and I really enjoyed it a lot. Alright, so that is my review on Squidness Protection and Dome Alone. These were two really fun episodes, and I really enjoyed them a lot. Alright, so next Friday's episode is going to be Wary Gary and Penned. So yeah, be on the lookout for those episodes reviews next Friday. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review, and today I'm here to review the new episode, Wary Gary and Penned. So yeah, I just got done watching these episodes, and yeah, so I'm here to give you guys my reviews on them. So, in Wary Gary, in this episode, SpongeBob, has to take Gary to the vet, and, so basically, throughout the episode, we got SpongeBob trying various of ways to trick Gary into going to the vet, but of course Gary will refuse to go because he's not really much of a fan going to the vet. And I found this episode to be pretty decent. I wouldn't say it was anything special. Some of the moments of this episode that SpongeBob did to trick Gary into going to the vet is by leading a trail of snail food to his cage, And throughout the episode, we got Gary attacking SpongeBob because he's trying to take him to the vet. And there's this really weird side plot of the episode where Patrick just shows up inside of his house just dillying around, and I really didn't find those moments to be all that interesting because it was just Patrick just roaming around his house while we got SpongeBob trying to take Gary to the vet. And when SpongeBob does end up taking Gary to the vet, all the veterinarian did was just gave him a lollipop and just checked his mouth, and that was really about it. And then when SpongeBob tries to leave the vet because the veterinarian sees that he had been attacked, she was going to give SpongeBob like this vaccine with this syringe, and so there was this big role reversal where Gary became the Wrangler, because in the episode SpongeBob became a Wrangler to go out of his way to take Gary to the vet. So Gary ended up becoming the Wrangler himself. So yeah, overall this episode was just all right. It wasn't anything too crazy in my opinion, but it wasn't anything offensive either. Now, Pinned. Now, this episode was rather interesting because in this episode, SpongeBob gets trapped underneath the weights of his indoor gym, and so he basically goes out of his way to send help so he can get unstuck from the weights. And this was a really interesting episode, trying to see, seeing SpongeBob going out of his way to get help from his weight, such as writing a letter in a bottle, and he ends up screwing that up when he accidentally knocks a Kelpo bottle out the window, and it lands into Squidward. And there was this really funny encounter in the episode with the police officers arriving to Squidward's house, and they basically avoid him. And this leads up to the episode's big climax, where it was like this surprise party, and so Patrick invites himself inside the house with all these pirates, and in order to get their attention, SpongeBob steps on. He basically stomps his foot onto the ground to get their attention, which ended up having the pirates sing the sea shanty, and then yeah, that was really interesting, and yeah, that's really all I have to say with this episode. This was a rather interesting one, and we also wait. Never mind. I was going to say something, but I don't really have anything else to add. But yeah, so that is my overall thoughts on Wary Gary and Pinned. I found Pinned to be the better episode in my opinion because it was more interesting. And oh yeah, there is one more thing I would like to talk about. There was this really funny moment in the episode where SpongeBob called Larry for help, and it turned out that he was trapped underneath his own weights in his gym, and I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah. So yeah, overall, those are my reviews on Wary Gary and Pinned. Next week's episode is going to be newer episodes. It's going to be, well, I'm not going to tell you what the episodes are because I already know what one of them is, but I kind of forgot what the other one is. But there is going to be new episodes coming out next Friday on the 28th, so I will be reviewing those. All right, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with those reviews. Hello everyone, good evening, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and tonight I'm here to give you guys my review on the two brand new SpongeBob SquarePants episodes, Jeffy T's Prankwell Emporium and A Taste of Plankton. So, in the episode Jeffy T's Prankwell Emporium, Squidward's dad visits Bikini Bottom to where he basically shows off Squidward his collection of gags that he has been working up on. And yeah, this episode was actually a pretty fun one, seeing Squidward's dad again in this series, is because, if you guys would recall, that he first appeared in the main series in the episode Mamageddon back in season 14, or was that season 13? I think that was season 13. Yeah, it was that season. And so we get to see more of his character, where he's actually a person who runs like a prank shop known as Jeffy T's Prankwell Emporium, to where he gets the attention of SpongeBob and Patrick. So, of course, Squidward isn't having any of this just because he wants to have time for himself, and his dad keeps being really annoying, along with SpongeBob and Patrick. So, the episode's climax was really interesting, seeing Squidward build his own ultimate gag to show his dad, and it consisted of a lot of random things like him getting hit in the head with a mallet. We got this part where a chicken comes out and it squawks really loud at him, and yeah. So overall, this was a rather fun episode, and I pretty much enjoyed it. All right, so next up is a taste of Plankton, and in this episode, Plankton decides to glue himself into SpongeBob's tongue, so he can get a sample of the Krabby Patty secret formula. And so he does this, and there's a part in the episode where SpongeBob realizes that they're running low on Krabby Patties, so he decides to make his own batch by finding the different lettered ingredients inside the cabinets, and so he ends up making these really disgusting Krabby Patties to where the customers aren't very pleased about it. And honestly, this episode was just okay because I wouldn't say this was anything too out of the ordinary. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, but yeah, so it was just mostly Plankton spending most of his time in SpongeBob's tongue. The fact that he glued himself to SpongeBob's tongue, and because SpongeBob notices that the glue is on his tongue, he really can't taste anything. So he goes around figuring out ways to get rid of the bland taste out of his mouth. To realize that SpongeBob just keeps a random stash of spare tongues in his wardrobe. So he just takes his old tongue out, puts in a new one, and he gives out his old tongue to Patrick at the end of the episode. And throughout this episode, the characters don't see Plankton's appearance, and I guess that's a unique take of an episode because I think will be rather predictable if the characters immediately saw Plankton. So I kind of get what they were trying to go for with this episode, but overall, I didn't find this episode to be all that amazing. And yeah, so that is my overall thoughts on A Taste of Plankton. So yeah, obviously, Jeffy T's Prankwell Emporium, in my opinion, was the slightly better episode. Alright, so those are my two reviews. So there are two other updates I'd like to bring up. So the first update is that episode 321 of SpongeBob SquarePants has been revealed. This is for season 16, and those two episodes are titled Curse of the Weredoodle and Gorilla Suit Day. In the episode Curse of the Weredoodle, the description reads that Doodle Bob bites SpongeBob, and he turns into a weredoodle. So we are going to be seeing the return of Doodle Bob into the show. And Gorilla Suit Day, in this episode, SpongeBob dresses up as a gorilla for Gorilla Suit Day until everyone mistakes him as a real gorilla. So this episode is kind of like the prank that Sandy and Patrick did with SpongeBob in the episode I Had an Accident, where Patrick dressed up as a gorilla. I'm pretty unsure that's what the concept is a little bit a reference to, but yeah. Alright, so next week we're going to be getting some more new episodes, so be on the lookout for those reviews. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Oh yeah, one more thing, I almost forgot. Camp Coral Season 2 is finally airing on Nickelodeon. I almost forgot to mention that, so just to let you guys know that Camp Coral Season 2 is now premiering on Nickelodeon. Alright, so with that, those are my reviews of Jeffy T's Prankwell Emporium and A Taste of Plankton, and I'll see you guys next Friday with the other two batch of new episodes. So goodbye, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Evie, the Sponge Reviewer here, and tonight I'm here to give you guys my review on the brand new SpongeBob SquarePants episodes, Smart Artificial Intelligence and Firehouse Bob. So yeah, both of these episodes were actually pretty good, and I really enjoyed them. So, in Smart Artificial Intelligence, this is the first episode of SpongeBob SquarePants that centers around Perch Perkins, who is the news reporter who made his debut all the way back in the first SpongeBob movie, where he is getting replaced by a robot, and because of this, SpongeBob wasn't going to take any of it, so he goes out of his way to protest that robots should not take over the jobs of news reporters. And this was a really, really fun episode, seeing Perch Perkins play as a role of the episode, where he basically goes under SpongeBob's caretaking, where he gives him different job opportunities after he gets fired as a news reporter. So we get to see Perch Perkins takes many different roles, such as working at the bargain mart, where he's going around giving out um, half prices or items on sale. Then we get to see the customers running off to those aisles to get those free sales. And there was this really cool part of the episode where a Bubble Bass comes in and he actually fixinates on Pickles again. We haven't seen this trope since the Pickles episode all the way back in season one, so I thought that was pretty cool that they brought back his love for Pickles. There's actually another part in the episode that I found really clever where we had all these different other news reporters, such as Gail Doppler, the meteorologist. We had the fish anchor from Goo Lagoon in the early seasons, like Muscle Bob Buff Pants, and we also had, I think, the mayor from yeah, it was the mayor fish from Who Bob What Pants. He was in the episode as well as a small cameo. And then we get to have this really cool sequence at the end where the news reporter, robot fish, and Perch Perkins had a news off where they had to predict, or where they had to give out different news reports, and because the robot is taking so much information, Perch reveals that it was him that he was causing all of the bad news reports to happen. So that was really cool. And yeah, overall, this was a really fun episode. And not only that, I want to say this is actually the first time card in the series that is like animated. Because what I mean by that is that that this episode had a time card that it was animated where the text appeared on screen one by one, instead of it being a still image followed by the French narrator reading off the time card. So I thought that was a pretty cool way of introducing a time card. So yeah, overall, Smartificial Intelligence was a really interesting episode, and another take of the crew experimenting with other background characters, which was a fresh taste for the SpongeBob series. Now moving on to Fire Bob, which marks Firehouse Bob, that is. This episode marks the 600 individual episode segment, and in this episode, SpongeBob, Squidward, and Patrick are volunteered to be firefighters to help out everything in Bikini Bottom. So it was really interesting seeing SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward being volunteered firefighters along with Gary, who becomes SpongeBob's Snailmation, which is a parody of Dalmatian. And this was a really fun episode, seeing Larry the Lobster and Old Man Walker play a role where they're also become volunteer firefighters. So we got to see them training SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward, becoming or trainers for becoming firemen. And there's this really funny gag in the episode where Larry showed off the different poles that lead to different areas of the firehouse. And this one pole in particular was really hilarious. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but all I'm going to say about it is it's really entertaining and it's very, very hilarious seeing this other pole that was forbidden because it will take you to places unknown. And that's all I'll say about the pole. I'm not going to tell you what those places are because I'll be going to too much spoilers, but yeah. So, and then the climax of this episode involves with the very first fire that happened in Bikini Bottom. And so Larry the Lobster accidentally lets out the very first fire and it ends up burning down the fire department. And yeah, so that's all I'll lead to that. And yeah, overall, both of these episodes were really fun. I really enjoyed them, and it shows that the SpongeBob team are still cranking out new episodes 25 years later because they never run out of steam. They're always coming up with experimentations, such as giving characters roles in the episodes, like with Perch Perkins, for example. It was really cool seeing him getting his very first role of a SpongeBob episode. So yeah, with that, that is my review on Smartificial Intelligence and Firehouse Bob. Until next time, I'll be reviewing I think it's called Problem Plankton or something like that, and Delivery of Doom. That's coming out next Friday on the 14th, the day that crabs fries. Thought I mentioned that joke. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with those reviews. Hello, everyone. This is Evie, the Sponge Reviewer here in the future. Is because that as I was publishing this video or this review, I've noticed that the other set of new episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants has been pulled because I see TBA on Encyclopedia SpongeBobia. So it looks like we're not going to be getting any other new episodes next Friday, which was going to be Delivery of Doom and My Father the Boat. Now, I am going to go back and I'm going to check up on the Patrick Star Show to make sure if those episodes aren't pulled. It's because we were originally once going to have new episodes of the Patrick Star Show, and I'm not entirely sure if we still will have those new episodes, but I will go back and check to make sure. So everything I said in this review, do not take it as a fact. It's because that I just now realized after publishing this video, I've noticed that they pulled the episodes because I don't see the air dates anymore on Encyclopedia SpongeBobia. So just here to let you guys know. And with that, sit back and enjoy the review. Hello, everyone. This is Evie, the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm here once again with another SpongeBob SquarePants review on today's new episodes, Problem Plankton and Muse Bob Model Pants. So, yeah, so I just got done watching these episodes, and I'm here to give you guys my reviews on them. So, in Problem Plankton, I might be butchering the name, but I'll pronounce it the best way I can. In this episode, Karen and SpongeBob are basically going through Plankton's baby pictures, and because they find the baby pictures so adorable, SpongeBob decides to pitch in the baby picture for this baby food by the name of Bartlin Baby or something like that. I think that's what the name of the brand was, and it was basically this whale baby food. And since SpongeBob had sent in the picture of Plankton as a baby to this baby food company, his face is now centered on the baby food, where everyone finds Plankton to be very adorable and find him very attractive as a star. So everywhere Plankton goes, he sees his baby picture plastered on everything, whether it's advertisements, on a bus, on the baby food itself, and then this whole episode ended up turning out to be this nightmare for Plankton. And overall, I found this episode just to be fine. I mean, to be honest, like, I didn't find this anything too amusing or anything. It was just mainly about Plankton being really jealous that his baby picture is placed everywhere. And I kind of found the ending of the episode to be rather interesting, where they ended up dumping all the baby foods into the desert, and then it attracts these whale babies, and it turns out that the plankton baby food is made out of plankton, and so the whale babies then turn into these psychedelic zombies, and they chase plankton, and SpongeBob ends up turning into a whale, and yeah, and I thought that was cool, I guess, but overall, I found this episode, Problem Plankton, to just be fine, I guess. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but that's all I can say about the episode. Now, in the episode afterwards is Muse Bob Model Pants, and in this episode, Plankton's not Plankton, I'm sorry, I don't even know why I said Plankton. Squidward, he's once again doing his art pieces, and SpongeBob and Patrick then interferes with Squidward's art, and until SpongeBob ruins Squidward's painting until his face appears into the painting, and because everyone in Bikini Bottom finds the SpongeBob paintings to be very unique, a art agent comes in and basically makes Squidward a deal for him to make all these SpongeBob paintings so he can get profit out of it. And yeah, and yes, this episode is another art episode, if that wasn't quite obvious, and I found this episode to be slightly better than the Problem Plankton episode, is because that this is another episode where Squidward becomes very paranoid and psychedelic because he has to keep making all these SpongeBob paintings to the point where it drives him insane. A lot of the season 15 episodes has been like this, and I did find them to be pretty interesting. Seeing all these characters just losing their minds in the season, and this episode was no exception to it. And yeah, so because this agent had pushed Squidward too far, he decided, or well, she decided to not make any more profit out of the SpongeBob paintings. So that's basically Muse Bob Model Pants in a nutshell. Is Squidward making all these SpongeBob paintings? It drives him insane, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So overall, those are my reviews on that's my review on Problem Plankton and Musebot Model Pants. I do want to apologize if this review was a little bit all over the place, but I tried to give it all I got. But yeah, so with that, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next Friday with the next set of new episodes. So I'll see you guys then. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and if you guys didn't see the community post that I dropped a few weekends ago, I am here to review the 2 SpongeBob SquarePants episodes that had been posted on the SpongeBob folder that I have been given, A Delivery of Doom and My Father the Boat. Now, these episodes were going to air in March, but they were pulled off of their air dates, so I am reviewing these episodes now. So, yeah, I have to say, both of these episodes were really fun, and I really enjoyed them, and I am looking forward to giving you guys my thoughts of them. So, Delivery of Doom, in this episode, SpongeBob goes on a delivery route to the evil League from the episode Mermaid and Barnacle Boy 5. But it's a whole different group members, obviously, because of the death, unfortunately, of Mermaid and Barnacle Boys as actors, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. But yeah, so SpongeBob has to take a delivery to them in 10 minutes or less, or else the food is for free. And what's really funny about this episode, I really enjoyed the opening of this episode, which did a commercial. It was like Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob doing like a parody of a commercial where they talk about delivering food to your location, which spiked the idea of the episode, and that was really fun. And another cool thing I liked about this episode were the visuals. The visuals were really interesting. They used like dark muted colors to represent the Evil League, which consisted of Man Ray. We had the Dirty Bubble. We had the Jumbo Shrimp. We had that little girl villain character, and we also had what's another villain that was in there? But I'm not gonna sit here and name them all. But I just named a few of them. I thought that was really cool, and I really enjoyed the moments of SpongeBob entering the lair, trying to deliver the food, and that was really fun as well, seeing the different villains interacting with SpongeBob as he's trying to deliver this Krabby Patty. And of course, we had really cool time cards, such as the little action cards, and we had the little superhero generic voice over guy from the Merman and Barnacle Boy episodes. That was fun as well. And yeah, overall, Delivery of Doom was a really fun episode, and I really enjoyed what they did with this one. Alright, so now moving on to My Father the Boat, and in this episode, it is Pearl's birthday, and she wants a boat for her birthday, and Mr. Krabs, being the cheapskate that he is, he refuses to buy Pearl a 10,000 clam boat, so he ends up finding a really busted up boat and to give to Pearl for her birthday, and because the boat doesn't have an engine, Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob pretends to be the engine while Pearl drives around in her new boat. Now, this was another really fun episode because I really liked the antics of SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs pretending to be the boat engine by making all these sounds and stuff. I thought that was really funny. I really enjoyed the parts of the episode where Pearl and her friends went out for a joyride, and they were going up against these gangster shark characters. That was really fun, seeing SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs interacting with them as they pretend to be the boat engine. And there was another part in the episode where SpongeBob was singing generic Italian singing because they wanted to hear music, and so SpongeBob did the generic Italian song, or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so I'm not gonna spoil anything else with this episode, but the main premise of the episode is that it's Pearl's birthday. Mr. Krabs gets her a really cheap broken boat, and because the boat doesn't have an engine, they had to pretend to be the engine while Pearl drives around in this new boat. And yeah, overall, these were two really fun episodes, and I really enjoyed them. All right, so next Friday is going to be the next set of new episodes of the Patrick Star Show. So I will be taking a look at those. And with that, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello, everyone. This is Evie the Sponge Reviewer here, and tonight I'm here to give you guys my review on the two brand new episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants, Who's Afraid of Mr. Snippers, and A Fish Called Sandy. Now, both of these episodes were really good in my opinion. I really enjoyed both of these episodes, but one episode might be slightly better than the other, and that's what I'm here to share with you guys. So, in Who's Afraid of Mr. Snippers, Squidward comes into the chum bucket as a disguise, so he can quietly write a script for his play, simply titled Who's Afraid of Mr. Snippers, where he actually wrote I think he wrote the ending of the script, and when Plankton coincidentally had the same idea of him writing a script of a play, he had the opening of the clip, or the play, that is, my mistake. And so Plankton and Squidward gets into a feud until their scripts comes together to form the Who's Afraid of Mr. Snippers play. And so this is where, in the episode, where we get to see Plankton and Squidward having both a rivalry to one another, because they're trying to figure out who's going to play Mr. Snippers. And so Karen then hosts auditions until none of them becomes the role of Mr. Snippers, because they will keep arguing and all that stuff. So SpongeBob comes along and he gets the role as Mr. Snippers, which is obviously this crab character, and he actually plays a similar role to Mr. Krabs. So and that's where, in the episode where the Mr. Snippers play happens, where SpongeBob doesn't agree that the script was basically he agrees that the script is a little too mean-spirited, until Karen then decides to tell him that the whole point of doing a play is to do the job. So SpongeBob is encouraged to become really rude while playing against Mr. Snippers. And so the play actually happens, and of course, chaos ensues when Mr. Krabs gets a VIP ticket and he witnessed the play, and then he gets to see SpongeBob and Squidward and Plankton reenacting the Mr. Snippers play, where they're like on this Viking boat and whatnot, and then we get to see Squidward and not Mr. Krabs, sorry. We get to see Squidward and Plankton beat each other up. They beat up SpongeBob in agreement, and then SpongeBob was happy to see them working out together. So yeah, this was actually a really fun episode, seeing Plankton and Squidward getting beef with each other, trying to figure out who's going to play Mr. Snippers. That was really fun, and I really liked the slapstick humor of this episode, and it was a rather fun episode to watch. Now, moving on to the highlight episode of this week of episodes, and that is A Fish Called Sandy. Now, I've heard many praises of this episode, because I've seen, I didn't click on the videos, but I did see videos of this episode popping up on YouTube when it got leaked. And what's really unique about this episode is that they actually went with the season 1 style of the character designs, meaning that the characters resembles their season 1 designs, and that was one of the highlights of the episode. And another interesting fun fact about this episode is that I believe some of the original showrunners of SpongeBob worked on this episode. I might be wrong on that, I'm pretty, but yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that that I think some of the original animators worked on this episode, and if I'm wrong on that, then okay, I apologize, but yeah, but the main premise of this episode is that Sandy wants to learn more about Bikini Bottom's culture, and so SpongeBob had the idea that she needs to become a fish so she could learn more about Bikini Bottom's inhabitants, and so she can feel how it feels like to be a fish. So what Sandy ends up doing is that she uses Fred as her specimen to swap his DNA with Sandy's DNA so she could become a fish. And we get this really interesting body horror where we get to see Fred's DNA mixing with Sandy's DNA until Sandy properly becomes a fish. And SpongeBob and Sandy throughout the episode have a fun old time doing many good things, such as karateing. They're out getting... They go to Goo Lagoon and they hang out. And then we get this really cool transitions of them going to these places of... Well, the transition that is they're like in this background, and as they transition to their different activities that they're doing, and of course, Sandy's little fish experiment had some side effects to it, where she starts shedding her fur. She then becomes this giant monstrous fish creature as she runs havoc throughout Bikini Bottom, and it's up to SpongeBob to turn Sandy back to her normal self. And yeah, this was actually a really fun episode, seeing Sandy having fun, enjoying the life of a fish. And then, of course, we got Patrick in the episode. And yeah, that was really fun seeing Patrick along for the ride. And it was really cool seeing the season 1 style again. And it was actually really cute seeing SpongeBob and Sandy having fun together as Sandy becomes a fish. And then SpongeBob saving the day by turning Sandy back to normal and everything. That was also really fun as well. And yeah, so overall, A Fish Called Sandy, this might end up being my favorite season 15 episode because really cool premise. I really enjoyed the season 1 style of the character designs. That was really cool. And then the ending was really funny as well, seeing Fred turning all monstrous and whatnot because of Sandy's experiment. And yeah, overall, this was a really fun episode. A Fish Called Sandy was a really good episode, and I'm really glad that they actually came up with this premise. So yeah, overall, that is my review on A Fish Called Sandy and Who's Afraid of Mr. Snippers. I'll see you guys on the 27th. It's because if you guys didn't get the memo that I will not be reviewing Making Waves and Captain Quasar, the next iteration, is because I will be away to St. Augustine for a family reunion next week, so I will not be reviewing those episodes on the day they come out, but excuse me, sorry, but I will review them if I do have the hold of the episodes. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is Evie the Sponge Reviewer here with my follow-up video to the SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up review that I just did. And this is going to be my review on Making Waves and Captain Quasar, the next iteration. So yeah, as I stated at the end of that review on SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up, Making Waves and Captain Quasar, the next iteration came on before the special, so I was able to watch the episode, and I'm here to give you guys my review on them. So in Making Waves, in this episode, Mr. Krabs takes a nice vacation away from the Krusty Krab to realize that him and Plankton are sharing the exact same room of their cruise ship, and so they're not very pleased about it. They want to have their spaces, and so they end up feuding while Rube is out touring the cruise ship. So yeah, this episode was it was rather it wasn't anything too groundbreaking in my opinion, because we didn't really get to the meat and potatoes of the episode like towards like the climax of the episode, but the first half of the episode was mainly Mr. Krabs and Plankton getting into the way of each other while they're out on this cruise ship. So, yes, Rube is in this episode, as I stated. He's like the tour guide of the cruise ship. He is actually running the cruise, and so we get to see these crazy hijinks with Mr. Krabs and Plankton. I'm just gonna bring up one of them, is because that I don't really remember too much of it, even though I've seen it. You know what? There's actually two things that stands out to this episode that I actually did remember seeing from watching it. One of them is Mr. Krabs and Plankton like on they're like on the little water slide thing, and that was one scene, and there was another scene that I can think of is them like dancing, and then they ruined the dance party and everything, and that's when Mr. Krabs and Plankton gets kicked off the cruise ship, and they're stranded on this deserted island, and that's when SpongeBob comes along, finds the two, and then he reveals that they're actually stranded on Goo Lagoon, and that's literally how the episode ends: is them stranded on Goo Lagoon, and then several days go by, and then Plankton and Mr. Krabs are sent in a bottle, and then SpongeBob puts the bottle into the safe of the Krusty Krab, and that's when Rube is inside the bottle as well, and that's how the episode ends. So yeah, overall, Making Waves, I wouldn't say this was anything too special, because it was just mainly Mr. Krabs and Plankton just feuding while they're coincidentally sharing the same vacation experience, and I wouldn't say it was anything too groundbreaking, but that's really all I have to say with Making Waves. Now, moving on to Captain Quasar, the next iteration. In this episode, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidina starts their own Captain Quasar fan club when they get kicked out of Bubble Bass's fan club, as they have a fan club of the rebooted version of Captain Quasar, which is titled Captain Quasar, the Next Iteration, while SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidina admires the original series. So, basically, Patrick in the episode, he ends up teaming up with Bubble Bass and Kevin and the other comic bird nerd character that I'm not too familiar with his name. So that's really all I can say about that. And so, this episode was also wasn't all that interesting as well, because there really wasn't that much going on with this episode, because mainly what this episode was is basically SpongeBob and Squidina starting their own club. They end up starting their club like in a vending machine at one point, and then towards the ending of the episode, Captain Quasar and Patron, the original series, Captain Quasar and Patron, they're like a little older, while the next iteration versions of them are a lot more younger and a lot different looking. And the climax was very anticlimactic, because it really wasn't all that interesting, because the original series, Captain Quasar and Patron were like old people, they couldn't fight all that well, so the whole battle sequence was a bit anticlimactic. And yeah, if I had to pick a better superhero episode in the series, I will pick the Dirty Bubble Bass over this one. So yeah, that's really all I have to say with Captain Quasar, the Next Iteration. It wasn't anything too groundbreaking, and yeah, for a season 15 finale, these were pretty weak in my opinion. So yeah, that's really all I have to say with Making Waves and Captain Quasar, the Next Iteration. Two pretty weak episodes in my opinion, and not a good way to end off the season 15. So yeah, those are my reviews on Captain Quasar, the Next Iteration, and Making Waves. And yeah, these are all the SpongeBob episodes that we're getting for this month in June. So yeah, until next time, everyone, I'll see you guys with another review if a new episode comes out, whether it's SpongeBob SquarePants or the Patrick Star Show. But yeah, so for the time being, I do have other videos sorry for the stuttering there. I do have other videos that I will be working on. But yeah, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.